This week on ANN, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church leads out an extensive evangelistic series in Zimbabwe.
The vice president of Zimbabwe praises the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the nation for its schools and healthcare services.
And a 6-person orthopedic team from Loma Linda University Health assists an Adventist hospital in Nepal during the nation's time of crisis.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, tens of thousands in the nation of Zimbabwe are currently experiencing a spiritual and physical revival as the result of an extensive evangelistic series. Ted Wilson, president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is leading out the 2-week Revelation of Hope series, which is part of the church's Mission to the Cities initiative. While the nightly meetings take place in a city south of the nation's capital, numerous events carry on throughout the day in various parts of the country. According to the Adventist Review, local church leaders have established 87 additional evangelism meeting sites in 17 cities. Organizers are hoping to baptize 30,000 people by the end of the campaign. The church is also operating a free health clinic that will serve 1,000 people on a daily basis.
Also in Zimbabwe, the nation's vice president recently applauded the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the nation for building and refurbishing schools and clinics and for operating free health services during its evangelistic series. Pelekezela Mpoko expressed his appreciation to a delegation of the church's leaders, including Ted Wilson, president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and Paul Ratsara, the president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the Southern Africa Indian Ocean region. According to Zimbabwe's Herald News organization, Mpoko, who is also an Adventist, said, "As the government, we are fully behind these initiatives because they are mainly designed to benefit the people."
A specialized orthopedic team from Loma Linda University Health recently returned from assisting a Seventh-day Adventist hospital in Nepal. The nation is still recovering from 2 massive earthquakes that struck within a month. The 6-person team assisted the Shir Memorial Hospital in Nepal. After the quake rocked the nation, the hospital increased its capacity to 130 beds. The team met a vital need since regional hospitals transferred their patients to Shir because it was able to serve more patients during the nation's time of crisis.
For the past 12 years, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in British Columbia, Canada, has made substantial contributions to its community through home makeovers. The cost of the makeovers usually run more than $100,000, but the Aldergrove Seventh-day Adventist Church offers their services to families for free. The culmination of the latest renovation by Acts of Kindness, or AOK, took place earlier this week. The AOK team took 2 weeks to completely renovate 2 homes that were in desperate need of repairs. According to the Aldergrove Star, more than 100 volunteers who aren't members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church were so impressed with the church's service, they joined the efforts to complete the task. Marcy Dauncey, the wife of one of the church's pastors, told the Aldergrove Star, "It's very moving to see what the acts of kindness can do. It's our way of paying it forward."
Children and teenagers of all ages recently marched through their community in England to raise awareness of child abuse. The Every Child Matters was organized by the Newbold Seventh-day Adventist Church and its Pathfinder and Adventurer clubs. Before the march began, various presentations were given to empower children to know the signs of abuse and to use their voices if they're harmed. During the march, the youth carried banners that advocated for the end of abuse and displayed the numbers for the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. At the end of the march, the youth hosted a bake sale to raise funds for the society. An organizer of the march told the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the United Kingdom the reason behind the event was because we love our children. Their safety and well-being is paramount to us.
In the Brazilian state of Bahia, a Seventh-day Adventist educational entity created a center to address the fitness needs of its surrounding community. Havista sent this report.
O investimento em ensino de qualidade pode, sem dúvidas, garantir o desenvolvimento do estudante em diversas áreas da vida. As exigências quanto a esse desenvolvimento são cada vez maiores no mundo moderno. Ir para a escola já não significa aprender apenas matemática, português ou ciências, por exemplo. Hoje, a qualidade do ensino também é avaliada diante do espaço dedicado para pesquisas, cultura e tecnologia. E por que não abrir um espaço também para incentivar o cuidado da saúde física? Pensando no desenvolvimento integral do aluno, a Rede Educacional Adventista, na Grande Salvador, inaugurou este espaço cultural e esportivo junto ao principal colégio da cidade.
Proporcionar uma infraestrutura que esteja no mesmo patamar do ideal de formar os nossos alunos através do desenvolvimento físico, intelectual e espiritual. E por que não dizer atender também a nossa comunidade através dos 8 remédios naturais.
Além dos alunos, o espaço também atenderá aos pais, colaboradores das instituições e à comunidade, com a ideia de levar até a sociedade os princípios de saúde da Igreja Adventista do Sétimo Dia.
A comunidade pode esperar um espaço cultural para aprender música, para aprender novos instrumentos como violão, violino, piano, musicalização de bebês. E também nós temos um espaço de estilo de vida saudável, uma lanchonete, onde nós temos como ensinar as pessoas como se alimentar bem de uma forma saudável.
O espaço foi construído para atender mensalmente até 1.000 pessoas, em diversas modalidades de atividades físicas.
Além das atividades internas que nós iremos oferecer, externas também, como a ginástica funcional e a corrida de rua.
Quem acompanhou a execução do projeto e visualiza agora o espaço em um formato atraente e com tantas opções para o cuidado da saúde física, este ambiente é sinônimo de sonho realizado.
According to a recent study by the Pew Research Center on America's changing religious landscape, findings reveal that the nation has become less Christian and more people have become religiously unaffiliated. In another study conducted by the Barna Group and the Cornerstone Knowledge Network, findings revealed that millennials who left the church aren't interested in returning to churches that are focused on being cool, but prefer authentic and genuine experiences. Here to help us discuss these findings and what they mean to the Adventist Church, we have Benita Shields, chairperson of the Subcommittee for Youth for the denomination's Nurture and Retention Committee. Benita, thanks so much for being with us.
I'm happy to be here.
Could you share with our viewers briefly what the Nurture and Retention Committee was tasked to do?
Our main task was to look at ways that we can keep our young people in our church. That's basically what we were tasked to do.
So Benita, let's take a look at this study or series of studies that have come out recently. In terms of retention, at last year's annual council meetings, the church said that while 32 million people came into the church over the last 30 years, 11 million people have left. So that's nearly a third that have left. North American Division also at its year-end meetings gave the results of a study of people that left and found that 25% left because of lack of compassion. 14% said they didn't feel they fit into the church. So this seems to kind of correlate a little bit with what the study found in terms of particularly young people and their attitudes, the judgmental attitude in the church. How similar is the Seventh-day Adventist Church to the other churches, the Christian church as a whole?
The figures are quite close. I mean, the Pew Research talked about evangelicals versus mainline Protestants, and we're closer to evangelicals as far as, you know, our population share. We've diminished slightly, where they've only diminished about 1%. However, here's the however, in our church, you had talked about, what was it, 30%? I forget the figure you used. But in 2014, our attrition rate was 39.25%.
Yeah, it was about 32%, I think.
Right, it's gone
year.
up. So what that means is we're having a huge influx of converts around the world. I mean, our membership is climbing every year. We're about 18 million right now. But that huge influx is masking that high attrition rate. So those are sobering figures for us as a church.
Benita, we read in the Washington Post that a way to keep young people in the church is to stop trying to be cool and to be authentic. Is your research following that same trend?
Yes, the research follows that trend. My conversations with young adults follows that trend. You know, my observation is when I've been to these churches that have tried to be cool, that have the latest and the greatest, you know, often they're baby boomers who are, at the church. And so it doesn't mean that we don't keep trying to do things to reach out to young adults to meet the needs, and if that is, trendy worship experiences. But that's not their bottom line. They're not looking for that. I see they're looking for authentic Christianity, because, my view is you can have shallow Christianity no matter what worship style you have. So for them, and the key word for them also is intergenerational. They're looking for these relationships with other generations, not just with their peers.
So what can we do as a church? Where can we begin to address this issue and find a more relevant way for young people who are asking for that?
I think one way is to look not only through the lens of how many people can we bring into the church, evangelism, but look through the lens of how can we help each other grow. We're talking about intentional spiritual growth, discipleship. And along those lines of what I call walking alongside of each other and helping each other grow, to not have this shallow experience, but to be authentic, to realize we're all growing, but to also have this intergenerational relationship. You can call it mentoring, you can call it coaching, whatever, but to bring the generations together so that we can grow together, so they can see us in our flaws and reality, not trying to put on some show for them, and that we can help each other just to grow in Christ.
Thanks so much for being here with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Benita.
My pleasure, and I just pray that we all grow together as disciples of Christ.
Coming up, remembering the life and ministry of Adventist evangelist Ron Halverson Sr.
Welcome back. And now for more news from our global church community.
Ron Halverson Sr., a renowned Adventist evangelist, died last week at the age of 76. When Halverson was 17, he turned away from his life as a gang member in the U.S. state of New York and committed his life to Christ. During his ministry, he would go on to baptize more than 10,000 people and impact members and colleagues alike. Ted Wilson, president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, told the Adventist Review, Elder Halverson was one of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's great evangelists, and he preached the straight truth of the Bible. According to the review, Halverson succumbed to myeloma, which is a cancer that starts in the bone marrow's plasma and affects the whole body. Jerry Page, director of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's Ministerial Association, shared Halverson's impact on the church and his personal ministry.
I consider Ron a friend, even though I didn't, I suppose, know him all that close, but I went to Andrews, a young guy converted out of drugs, and Ron was just what I needed. His week of prayer was so relatable to somebody like me. But later, as a young pastor out in Colorado, they had me come as a representative to a meeting at the Central Union where he was ministerial secretary. And he got us so fired up to go home and get laymen involved, in preaching and in meetings and whatever. So I went home, and with 3 months' notice, we decided to have a lay meeting in a little school. Baptized 4 people. That was like wonderful latter rain for us. And then a few months later, they took me to the conference to be personal ministry. So I got Ron and Sam and Ye and others to come and train, and we ended up getting a lot of laymen involved. And so his impact on the church to me is his inspiration, his humor that often ragged on the bureaucracy of the church and yet was a loyal churchman, was to really get everybody involved possible in winning souls, and he did it.
More than 3,000 church leaders in the island nation of Puerto Rico last month celebrated the construction of a significant church building on the campus of a Seventh-day Adventist university. The celebration took place on the campus of Antillean Adventist University. The new facility will be the first church ever built on the school's campus. The university has used a small chapel that was built 50 years ago, but it no longer accommodates all the needs of its congregants. The new facility will be multi-leveled and will hold 500 people in its auditorium. Obed Jimenez, president of the Antillean Adventist University, told attendees of the celebration, "We plead for your prayers so that our institution can enjoy a temple dedicated as a place of worship for God for generations to come." Leaders say the church will be completed in April 2016.
A new Seventh-day Adventist business in New South Wales is hoping to introduce more Australians to healthy food options. Record in Focus has more.
Life Health Foods is a sister company to Sanitarium, and like Sanitarium, is owned and operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church as a not-for-profit entity. A new purpose-built facility is already producing a series of products aimed at replacing meat for consumers wanting a more plant-based diet, and managers say there's room for expansion.
Because we want to prove to anyone that a plant-based lifestyle can be varied, innovative, and also taste delicious. Some people that are hardcore meat eaters think that vegetarian food tastes disgusting before they've tried it. And Life Health Foods is about busting that myth.
An Adventist high school in the Cayman Islands recently made a significant impact on a local health organization for residents with cancer. During the Cayman Academy's Cancer Awareness and Health Week, students raised 2,000 Cayman Island dollars, or $2,400 US, for the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. Jennifer Weber, operations manager for the society, told the Academy, "When a school calls us with a donation, it is usually $200 or $300 from a bake sale or a dress-down day." She went on to say, "So this donation from the Seventh-day Adventist School was quite significant." Weber said the raised funds will go directly toward the Society's financial aid program.
In the U.S. state of Washington, a restaurant operated by Seventh-day Adventists is serving up more than delicious plant-based food items to meet the needs of its surrounding community. Marcio Basso Gomez sent this report.
Founded at the end of the 18th century, Lewiston is situated 45 minutes from Portland, generally considered the most important city in the state. It was in this region 2 years ago that the Adventist Church anchored its own Ark. The restaurant appears as an escape, an oasis amidst urban monotony. From Sunday to Friday, the Ark serves delicious vegetarian dishes with optional gluten-free recipes. But the establishment is more than a restaurant.
The biggest focus is the missionary work.
I was going door to door with some people to see what the needs of the community were.
Offering courses, events, training for children, and a variety of books. All for free or low cost, thanks to a volunteer network.
My passion is herbs and natural healing, so I teach an herbs and natural healing class.
I teach cooking classes, and I also volunteer in the restaurant.
And those who serve with joy.
It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad the Lord opened the door for me to be here.
And every second Saturday of each month, the Ark converts a space into a place to worship God while offering free lunch, good conversation, and Bible study.
We have a number of people that are coming to church now because of coming to our programs at the Ark.
It's common to see customers participating in the events.
Esse restaurante, onde antes funcionava uma Pizza Hut, se converteu em um centro de influência, assim como a Arca Bíblica The Ark oferece salvação às pessoas.
Elizabeth, who participated in biblical courses, says she found total salvation here.
The health programs were wonderful because I realized that God does not just want to save our spirit or soul, but our bodies also.
And finally in the news this week, a group of Seventh-day Adventists recently had the opportunity to spend Mother's Day with one of the oldest people in the world, who is also the oldest person in Jamaica. Violet Moss Brown, who turned 115 this year, welcomed the group from the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Douanville. On Brown's birthday earlier this year, Queen Elizabeth II hailed the supercentenarian for reaching 115 years of age. During their visit, the group of 20 Adventists showered Brown with gifts, words and songs of hope, and prayers.
Still ahead, learn how to live stream events from your cell phone.
But up next, find out what's in the latest edition of Elders Digest magazine. Welcome back. Alfredo Garcia Marenco shares a preview for the current issue of Elders Digest magazine.
In today's preview, we want to introduce the third quarter 2015 issue of the Elders Digest magazine. This issue highlights important topics listed in our curriculum that we hope will be welcomed by the leadership at all levels of the church organization. The cover feature is entitled "The Church and Its Critics" by Alberto Tim of the LNG White Estate, in addition to the regular menu of relevant articles beginning with the editorial on ethics and the church, written by Pastor Jonas Arraez. We also include health tips for elders, scripture applied, the Kidders column, news around the world, sermon outlines based this time on the 7 churches in the book of Revelation, tips on public speech, worldwide initiatives, question and answers, Seventh-day Adventist official statements, and the brand new segment on deacons and deaconesses by Pastor Vincent E. White Sr. A segment, in addition to that, a segment on Christian leadership calling next generation leaders under the banner "Needed More Leaders," and other biblical sound topics. More than 200,000 leaders around the world are getting the Elders Digest magazine in 14 languages, along with other resources such as the Elders Handbook, the Elders Leadership Certification Program, and the new ever Deacons and Deaconess Handbook that will be introduced during the upcoming General Conference session. For past issues of the Elders Digest magazine, leadership resources, and other related information, please check eldersdigest.org. Please get your subscription to the Elders Digest magazine and order the Elders Handbook and the brand new Deacons and Deaconesses Handbook through your local Ministerial Association office.
And now it's time for your weekly social media report with Angela Taipei. This week, learn what mobile applications can help you live stream video with your smartphone.
Meerkat and Periscope are 2 new ways to live stream content online. Through these apps, you can now live stream directly from your smartphone. Both apps allow users to share what they're seeing and receive comments and questions from people watching online. Live streaming video is a great way to interact with your audience in real time. A few ideas of how to use this technology in your local ministry could include sharing live events, hosting interviews with leaders, showing how something is made, or even giving a behind-the-scenes look at an event. Let people be involved through your eyes from wherever they are. While both apps broadcast publicly, Periscope also allows you to broadcast private videos to specific people who follow you. You could use this function for training specific ministry leaders or even volunteers. Now, here are a few pro tips. If you're going to be sharing for a long time, make sure you have a full battery and are on Wi-Fi so you don't use up all your data at once. Also, the very first image seen when you press broadcast will be the video's thumbnail, so aim well even before you start recording. Videos are available online for up to 24 hours after the broadcast. Meerkat and Periscope perform generally the same function and lead to your Twitter account to help you find friends to follow, though to sign up for Periscope you no longer need to have a Twitter account. Periscope, which is owned by Twitter, however, is only available in the App Store, while Meerkat is available through the App Store and Google Play. Both platforms are currently developing apps for Android. If you want to see how this works firsthand, the Adventist Church will be live streaming a building tour via Periscope next Tuesday, May 26 at 9 a.m. Washington, D.C. time. We'll let you walk around with us and ask any questions you might have. Keep your eye on the Adventist Church Twitter account for the reminder.
For this week's installment of Answering Frequently Asked Questions about General Conference Session, we asked Myron Eiseminger to discuss which church leadership positions are up for election.
Okay, well, all of the major officers
of the General Conference, of course, are filled at the session. That's the President, Vice President, field secretaries. And then in Secretariat, we have the Secretary, Undersecretary, Associate Secretaries, and the same in Treasury. Then also the department or association directors and associate directors. The positions that are not filled at the session are other organizations like the Biblical Research Institute, Archives and Statistics, and those organizations. The directors are appointed at the first annual council of the Executive Committee after the session.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, learn about some of the church's early General Conference sessions in the late 19th century.
If it's mid-May, then it must be the anniversary of General Conference sessions. In each year from 1863 through 1870, sessions met on one, several, or all of the days of this week, always, in those early years, at Battle Creek. On May 17, 1865, the third General Conference session was held. The first treasurer, Eli S. Walker, was replaced by Isaac D. Van Horn, while the first president, John Byington, was replaced by James White, who delegates had originally elected as president in 1863, only for him to modestly refuse to serve. This time, James White consented, and he served for 2 one-year terms. And 2 years later, on May 17, 1867, on the fourth day of the fifth session, John N. Andrews was elected General Conference President, replacing White. A year and a day later, May 18, 1868, the seventh day of the sixth session, was a crucial moment in our history, when delegates agreed to send John N. Loughborough to California as a missionary, as they put it. California was as distant as Europe and seemed as strange to Adventists who were mostly from New England and the Midwest. Creating the California mission was a vital stepping stone to truly worldwide mission. And a year later, on May 18, 1869, the first day of the seventh session, James White was again elected president, succeeding Andrews. Uriah Smith was elected to his 7th successive term as secretary, and Eli Walker was chosen for his second spell as treasurer. That was this week in Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, you can join our global conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide through more stories, photos, videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News, Twitter/Adventist Church, and Instagram @Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. The passage says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline."
Well, that's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Till next time, God bless.
Take care.